bring in Congressman Adam Kinzinger now, a Republican from Illinois, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Always good to have you. Thanks for joining us right now.
You bet. Yep.
So my first question for you, because you just heard John Roberts reporting, if Congress actually at the end of the 60 days doesn't effectively do anything, the president then can step in. And what would that look like?
Well, in watching the president's speech, which I think he hit all the right tones. I think it was powerful. I think he put out the broad issue of Iran, not just the issue of the JCPOA. But according to him, if we don't act and we don't basically do what we can to create a better deal, he's out. And I think it's having that hammer that not just on Congress, but frankly on Iran and Europe to say, look, we have time to do something about this. Frankly, we have 60 days. But if we don't fix the problem where Iran is mailing in their own soil inspections, if we don't fix the problem where we can't get access to some military sites, if we don't fix the issue with them legally or openly developing intercontinental ballistic missiles like what we're seeing in North Korea, then it's going to be way worse. So, like I said, I think the president's strategy hit all the right notes. I think his speech hit all the right notes.
Okay, but I want to dig in deeper now, and you were part of it as members of Congress. With all due respect, I mean, there's criticism that you might not be able to go forward on this, and it's fair from the American people to look to Congress and to expect them, you members, to do your job. So this is a lot on your shoulders. I'm curious to know real quickly, just yes or no, do you think you can get it done?
Yes. But to expand on that a little bit, it's really going to be a question for some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. These were the ones that were opposed to the deal, and now all of a sudden are singing its praises and saying it's great, and I can't believe we're going to pull out. This is beyond, and I hope all of us, Republicans and Democrats, say on this one issue, let's try to put partisanship aside and do what's right for our country and give the president, frankly, the backing he needs to go out and protect the American people from an Iranian regime that is murdering people and has murdered Americans, including a quarter of what we lost in Iraq in the past.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. I mean, these are deadly stakes, and you just described why. All right, let's dig in here. So we heard the president say he's going to do a couple of things, and I'm wondering how quickly this could happen with or without Congress. One, he says, I've authorized the Treasury Department to apply financial sanctions outside the deal that target destructive activities / missile programs, that sort of thing. Your thought?
Great move. The Treasury can do that immediately. Congress can continue to work to embolden from the law side where we need to on sanctions, but Treasury has a lot of leverage to be able to target that. And what I think is really important is sanctions are not just at the Iranian regime. They're going to be at the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard Corps. This is the main force that Iran projects out to places like Syria, Iraq. Again, they have American blood on their hands. And so these targeted but probably pretty severe sanctions that you'll see from Treasury are going to be great.
I'm going to be talking with a general just moments from now. I'm going to bring up your exact words, Congressman. Also, the president says he's going to instruct our intelligence agencies to do a thorough review of Iran, more than they have already done. Would that be information that you think you could gather ahead of your 60 days? Would that be new intel for you to work with, or does it not work that way?
It could potentially. You know, we only have a limited amount of intelligence assets, and as you know, we have North Korea, we have Afghanistan, Iraq, everywhere else. And so being able to prioritize Iran to say in some of their sites, you know, is there activity going on, or is there an area where we're curious about activity going on? This is the kind of information that's good for Congress, but most importantly, good for the administration to be able to know how to target their proverbial attacks, whether it's economic or otherwise, against these evil actors.
All right. Some Americans may look at this and they remember the president when he was a candidate saying, make America great again. How does this put America first? Does it, in fact, make us safer? If so, how?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's part of the thing we have to understand as Americans is making America great is not bringing everybody home and pretending the rest of the world doesn't exist, but understanding that for 8 years there was a leadership vacuum, and that's got to be cleaned up, and that puts us at risk. Look at, again, as I mentioned, a quarter of the troops that were killed in Iraq were done by Iran. You look at the destabilizing force going on in Syria right now as they're propping up Bashar al-Assad and murdering hundreds of thousands of Syrians. And you look at the threat to Israel through Hezbollah and the attempt by Iran to create basically a Shia crescent all the way to the border of Israel. These are serious issues that put Americans overseas at risk and embolden terrorists that would put Americans at home at risk.
Let's talk just, if we can, for a moment about what those 60 days look like with you as members of Congress. Where do you start? When does it start?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it's something we need to get on right away. I think what we need to do is begin the preparations for bringing back sanctions in the hope that in the process, Europe, Iran, and everybody else agrees to come on board to create a deal that makes sense. But we can't wait to see if those negotiations work. We have to move on the issue of sanctions, as well as, you know, as my Senate colleagues have shown, they have something that could potentially make this deal better. These are the kinds of, not just discussions. Everybody says we need to talk, take a look, words like that. We need to actually move on this, because not just this issue. We have plenty on our calendar between now and Christmas.
Well, and you have a president who says he's going to expect you to hit that 60-day mark, or he's ready to do something else. Congressman Kinzinger, House Foreign Affairs Committee member, we appreciate your expertise, particularly from that point of view. I also know you're a veteran, so thank you for being with us.